The barn. The barn was a real barn. The horses came in with wagons of hay. That old barn was built by some Dutchmen, maybe 150 or 200 years ago. They went out in the woods. They chopped down the beams. They came in and built a barn. And then they had the horses and the hay wagons, and they brought the hay in. Brought the hay in great big wagons, brought it in, and pitchforks, took the hay, threw it up in the air into the barn. And when we were kids, we used to jump into the hay, have a great time. And that barn could tell a lot of stories. The horses and the cows lived downstairs where we have the costume room now. That's where they lived. But upstairs, the barn was busy all the time, with hay coming in and hay going out. What else would you like to know? How it became a stage? Well, it was a real true barn, and downstairs the cows were there, and the farmers used to milk the cows and bring the milk into the house for the family to enjoy. But years and years later, when the kids came up in 1919, they needed a place to act. They had no place but the porch of the White House. And so Mr. Cohn decided that maybe he would take that old barn and make it into some kind of a theater. Now today, there are hundreds of old barn theaters, but in those days there weren't any. And his idea was to make that into a theater for the kids. And so he had Mr. Erickson, who was the carpenter, build a stage. And that stage is still there. It was fixed up a little bit by one counselor or the other, even Joey Smith. Joey is the man who's doing the architecture now for the new Tranquility Sports Center. He helped. Well, this goes way back to 1919, and the stage was made. And the kids would come in, they bought some benches, and they sat there and they acted up on the stage. And then someone by the name of Sam Lev, he was about 14 years old. He came from Russia. He was a little refugee boy. And he liked to draw, and he liked to paint. And he said to Mr. Cohn, "Well, would you bring me some paint, please? I'd like to do some painting." So the next week, Mr. Cohn brought him some paint. And Sam said, I wanted oil paints, not paints for houses. So he brought oil paints the next week. And what do you think Sam Lev did? He asked the lady who was in charge, her name was Miss Haas, could she please give him some sheets? And he took some sheets. Now he said, "Give me some flour." So they took the flour and the water, and Sam made, from these sheets, he made canvas, his own. And then he took the oil paints and he painted the scenery of the whole neighborhood. And what beautiful scenery he made. And it lasted for years, because it was real paint. Well, that was fine. And then Sam Lev said to Mr. Cohn one week, I think, Mr. Cohn, the stage would be better over there, not over here. So he said, well, okay, tell Mr. Erickson to, during the week, take the stage from over here and put it over there. So that's what Mr. Erickson did. He took the whole stage and he transferred it and put it on the other side of the room. Next weekend, Mr. Cohn came and said, "Well, Sam, what do you think? Was that a good idea?" And he said, "Oh, no, Mr. Cohn, it was a bad idea. The kids can't see from there. We better put the stage back." So the stage was put back, and it's still there. Never changed. Just fixed up a little bit, but never changed. And that old stage, if that could talk, it could tell plenty of stories of boys and girls who sang and who danced and who played and who really became stars, many of them. And many didn't become stars, but they had a great time on that stage, just like you do. And that's the story of the barn stage. It's probably the most loved place in the whole camp. And that's why the alumni have used it as their logo. the barn of Tranquility Camp.